Okay, we're continuing our Chapter 11, Part 2 review for the test for Algebra 2. This says find the values of the 30th and 90th percentiles of the data. So the first thing we want to do is order this data from least to greatest. So we start with 100. The next we've got another 100. And then next would be 105. Then 113. Then 129, 132, 146, 152, 176, and 200. That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 items total. Now, they want to know what's the 30th percentile and the 90th percentile. Well, for the 30th percentile, we're going to convert that to 0.3, like 30%. 0.30 is just 0.3. And to get to the 30th percentile of our data, we're going to multiply that times the number of items. So where do we sit? Where is the 30th percentile in our list of 10 items? So that's going to be equal to 3. That means it's the third item. So 1, 2, 3. So my 30th percentile is 105. So there's one answer. Now we're going to work the next one pretty much the same way. So 90th percentile is 0.90, which is equal to 0.9 times 10, which is equal to 9, which means our 9th item. So there was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our 90th percentile is equal to, I forgot what it was, 176. And that's how you work those. Okay, number 5 says what are the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation of these values. So the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation. Round to the nearest tenth, so we know we need 1 decimal place. Right, so the first thing we want to do is add them together. So when you add 11, 11, that's 22, plus 10, that's 32, plus 7 is 39, plus 5 more is 44, plus 4 more is 48. So we have 48 divided by how many items? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our mean is equal to 8. So we've got the mean. Now we need the variance. So for the variance, we're going to have to put these in a box and calculate some values. I like to put things in order, so excuse me. Let's go 4, 5, 7, 10, 11, and 11. Okay, so there's our first column. And we're going to have a box of 4 columns here. Now, the next thing we want to do is calculate the average, or the mean. We've already done that. So this is x. This is going to be our x bar, our mean, which is 8, all the way down. For all of the items, they have the same average. The next column is our x minus x bar. So that means we're going to subtract the 2 columns and find the difference. So 4 minus 8 is negative 4. 5 minus 8 is negative 3. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. 10 minus 8 is 2. 11 minus 8 is 3. And the same. Excuse me. Now our last column is to square that difference. So this is going to be 16, 9, 1, 4, 9, and 9. Now when we find the variance, which is sigma squared, we know it's just going to be this column, take the average, right? So what is the average? So when we add all of these together, we get 48. And now 48 divided by 6, that's the number of items, equals 8. So it's coincidence that not only was our mean 8, so is our variance. Now to get our standard deviation, we're just going to solve this, right? So 0 squared equal 8. I'm sorry, sigma squared equals 8. Then what will we do? Take the square root of each side, and now we get sigma equals radical 8. Or when you solve radical 8, it's about 2.8. So that's our variance, or excuse me, our standard deviation. So there's our three answers. Our mean is 8, our variance is also 8, and our standard deviation is 2.8, about 2.8. Our next problem asks us to use the graphing calculator to find the mean and the standard deviation of the data round to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place. Okay, so let's get our graphing calculator. This is what we use in our class here. All right, so we're going to first clear everything out. Whoops. So hit clear, and we want to go to our stat. Now in stat, you see that we're first going into edit. That's exactly what we want, so press enter. And if anything is in your list, you'll want to arrow up, hit clear, and hit enter to clear that list out. Now let's start typing in list 1. Okay, so we're going to type all of these figures. 17, enter, 9, enter, 20, enter, 22, enter, 22, enter, 8, enter, and 13. Enter. So now I've got my list 1 populated with 9, 17, 9, 20, 22, 22, 8, and 13. Now let's go back to our stat screen, and we want to right arrow over to calculations right here. And we want to select the first one variable statistics. So I'm just going to press enter. And there it is again, one variable statistics. I'm going to press enter. And it gives me my mean right there and my standard deviation right there. The sigma x is my standard deviation. So my mean is 15, said 1/10, so 0.857, which rounds up to 15.9. So there's my mean, and my standard deviation is the sigma x down there next to the last line, which is equal to 5.488. Well, to round to 1 decimal place, it's going to have to go to 5.5. So sigma, or standard deviation, is about 5.5. We want to change those equal signs. So there you go. There's your 2 answers.